All right, everybody, we're live on YouTube and we're live on TikTok. Let's get the party started. Tomorrow's the big night, the night we've all been waiting for since the Super Bowl ended. So, this is quite an exciting time of year. It's sort of like our Christmas, isn't it? Um, Looking forward to the season starting tomorrow night. Then we got a game on Friday. We got a whole load of games. So, that'll be very exciting going into the weekend. So everyone will be camped out, probably watching TV. So nothing better than it. It'll be very nice. Yo, what's up, Underwood? Haven't seen you in a while. Glad you're aboard. Let me know what your fantasy questions are, guys. I'm happy to help. You know that's what I like to do. I've been on the last few nights. I think I made a total of 36 cents. So, want to help out. It's not about the Benjamins with me. It's about helping you guys get a better team. Can I get up there sideline? Sure. Yeah. Sure, Underwood. What's up,
Yo, what's good,
Underwood?
sidelines?
Not much. What's going on?
What's going on? Nothing much, man.
Talk to me about your fantasy team or teams.
Alright, so I got 3 teams, I think.
Okay.
There's an echo, by the way.
That's usually my fault. I apologize. I'm not really sure why that happens sometimes.
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, one's a 14-team league.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me about that one, because that's a little, you really have to be pretty strategic for 14-team league.
Yeah, what's it call it? So I ended up getting the 14th pick.
Yeah.
And I got Malik Neighbors.
Okay.
And Ash Venti.
Okay. Well,
and then
yeah, I think Malik will be okay. Unfortunately, I think that they're going to have some quarterback issues throughout the season. So as long as you can bear with maybe some down weeks when they have a bad Russell Wilson or something like that. And I'm also King C Note real quick said, "Hey, sideline fan, I owe you an apology. I'm wondering what that's all about. So I was supposed to be in your fantasy league and I got injured." Oh, okay. That's fine, King C Note. All right, keep going, Underwood.
And then I think it was around my next pick was probably around like 40.
Wow. Okay.
And how this draft played out?
So you got Genty and who else?
Malik Neighbors.
Okay, so you got you didn't get Bijan.
Who I got at the 3 and 4. Hold on.
Who did you get at 3 and 4? What? This story is not going as well as I thought. He just dropped off. Okay. Week 1, Stefon Diggs or Tucker Kraft. I would never. I would go Stefon Diggs. I don't like putting a tight end in flex unless they're a really top tight end. Kirk or Chubb at flex. I would put Chubb because he's the number 1 running back in Houston. Mooney, Myers, and Pittman. I would go Myers. Oh God, Michael Pittman. Mooney or Pittman? Mooney or Pittman? Let me look that up. We'll wait while he gets back to the mic. Okay, Mooney. Yeah, what's up?
All right. So at the 3rd and 4th round pick, I got Kenneth Walker.
Okay.
And Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay. Which in a 14-team league, those aren't bad pickups. By the way, you'll want to start Pittman over Mooney on that one. All right, keep going.
And then 5 and 6.
Uh-huh.
I got Tony Pollard.
Okay, he's starting, so that's not bad.
And Jacoby Myers.
Okay. Yeah, Jacoby Myers, I think some people are not so high on him, but he had a good season last year.
Great.
Yeah, I think he is too. So it's not bad.
He didn't drop a single pass last year.
So. Yeah, I mean, you have some question marks in so much as you don't have someone you can put in and know that they're going to have a good game for you. You have sort of some question marks.
Yeah.
So, Yeah. So
And then
yeah.
the rest of my lineup is just I got Kyle Pitts,
Okay.
and then I got the stack I got Kyler Murray.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I
I
think
could have the stack of Kyler and
Marvin.
Marvin.
Well, you also know if they have a bad game, those two,
Yeah.
you're screwed. So it's feast or famine. Hopefully more feast for you. So yeah, not a bad way to go at all. What you did there. I mean, I think you did okay. I do think that Kyler Harrison was very up and down, and if he does that again tonight, that's going to be tough for
I
you.
think he'll be great. I think he'll be good this year.
Yeah. Okay, let's
Emeka Egbuka or Sutton.
Yeah, see, I would go on that one, Emeka Egbuka or Sutton. I would go Sutton because at least we know what we're going to get. Egbuka still has Evans as a wide receiver teammate, and as a rookie, we don't know what to expect from him. So I would definitely go Sutton, just at least for week one. Monitor the situation. Somebody asked me if you're 1-2 draft for me tonight.
D Swift and half PPR.
I don't think Alexa's still here. I was going to say. What do you got?
Half PPR. I would go with Swift. Personally.
What's that? What's the question? George Pickens or D Swift in half PPR? Yeah, I might go Swift. If it's half PPR, you might want to go Swift. Yeah. I think Swift should do well. They have a better offensive line. So, and he's the number one as of now. Start Travis Hunter over whom? Sam 2K. Start Travis Hunter over whom? I mean, what other options do you have? I'm worried about a rookie wide receiver in week one. It's not to say that Travis Hunter won't be good. It's not to say
Kirk or Hollywood.
Egbuka won't be good. But what's
Who's
that?
Kirk?
Who are you talking about?
Someone said Kirk or Hollywood in flex.
Oh, Hollywood, yeah. Christian Kirk or Hollywood Brown.
Kirk.
I mean, Hollywood Brown might only get one target.
Hollywood.
That's the only thing. I think Kirk probably gets a few more.
I mean, I feel like none of them are going to get any targets.
Yeah. And I think Amanda's on here.
Anyway, Gibbsby for Golden.
Okay, hold on one second. Let's go through these together. Okay, Brandon Lloyd or Benjarvius Green Ellis?
I think those are middle linebackers.
Yeah. I would go with who you think is going to give you the most points. I know that that's stupid to say, but I mean, what teams do they play on, and how good is the defense? That's how I would look at it.
This is a good one.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta or Evan Ingram?
I would actually go Laporta. Personally, but I know a lot of people are high on Ingram right now, so.
I say Ingram.
Yeah. Okay. You say Ingram. I say Laporta. Based on last year, he got a lot of play, but people are high on Ingram. Laporta had a better season, I believe. Okay, DK or Tracy at flex. I would go DK because Tracy, didn't put up massive numbers last year. I always kind of side with the running back, but I think DK, outside of Rodgers, is sort of the hope on that in that offense. Hey, Amanda, how are you? Good to see you. Glad you're on board. Who's got questions? You got questions, Amanda? I'll always take care of you. Loyal supporter. Jalen Waddle or Isaiah Pacheco at flex. I would go Waddle, and I know people are high on Waddle because they think Tyreek's kind of done. But if you look at Isaiah Pacheco's numbers from last year when he came back towards the end of the season, he didn't really do much. And that's why I would go with Waddle. Again, picking a wide receiver over a running back. Do I start Laporta or Njoku? I would tend to go with Njoku. I think he's going to be.
Yeah, Njoku and Joe Flacco was averaging 10 targets a game.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't doubt that at all. Amanda asks, how do you feel about Pearsall? The thing about Pearsall is he's the number one this week. Everybody's injured. He hasn't had a lot of time. I know that people believe that he's extraordinarily talented, but there's a lot of unknowns with Pearsall right now. Can he really be a number one? He was in a couple games. He caught a few balls, all those kinds of things. I'm not high on him. I don't think, he's going to be great, but let's see how the first week plays out. I mean, if he's the best you got and the only option to start at flex or wide receiver 2, I totally get it. But also know that offense if CMC doesn't come back the way that we want him to come back, and I see a lot of fantasy people saying, "Oh, CMC, draft him, no worries, draft him, no worries." I don't know if that's always the case. He's got to show me that he's fully back and that offense is fully back. And if he's playing well, especially game one, Pierce, it's going to open up the passing game. Okay, so what else?
One person said gotta bench one, JMO, Pickens, Pierce Hall, or Ibuka.
Wait, hold on. I had Brian Robinson in our league. I was so mad when he got traded. Yeah, well, he's with San Francisco. Now he's a number 2. Wait, where's that one that you just saw? Wait, where was it? What was it again?
He's got to bench one of the people, either Jameson Williams, George Pickens, Ricky Pearsall, or Emeka Ibuka.
I would bench, if you only have to bench one, I would bench the rookie because we don't know what to expect. And he also has Mike Evans, I believe, who would be on the depth charts in front of him. Let's see. Oh, I scrolled down. Depth charts. Let's just look at wide receivers. I don't know if it's going to fit.
Okay.
Yeah, Evans is the number 1. Chris Godwin is doubtful. And Emeka Ibuka is number 3.
Who's their matchup also?
They are playing Tennessee. No, that's preseason. Atlanta. So they can do well, but I think it takes a week or two sometimes for rookie wide receivers to get going. All right. Airborne Daisy.
Did I win?
What's that?
Someone said, did I win this trade or no? Swift and Njoku for Brock Bowers.
Okay, hold on.
I don't think.
I don't even see where you're at. You must be getting these sooner than I am. Wait, who sent that? Scout did. I don't even see that on my chat. That is okay. No, I see it now. Did I win this trade? Swift and Njoku for Brock Bowers.
So he gave up Swift and Njoku. I don't think he won.
Yeah, I don't think he won. I think Swift.
Brock Bowers is great.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: is Bowers going to have the season that he had last year and better? I keep hearing that it's doubtful because they have a little bit better offense, and he won't be the go-to person so much. Plus, Njoku, I think, will have a good season, and Swift could have a good season with the offensive line that they have in Chicago. So I don't think that you did. But I understand why you did it. I think Njoku's kind of in the range of Bowers this year. All right. Let's see. Airborne Daisy. Let's just see if we can get them.
Breaking Q. I've seen he's been asked this question a lot.
Okay. Adunze, Ridley, Dobbins, Pickens start 2. Okay. Everybody likes
start.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Underwood. Who would you start?
I would say start Ridley. Surtain's not going to be on the whole time.
He's going to be on him a lot, and they have a good defense. Plus, you know that Sean Payton's going to bring the heat to the rookie quarterback. Is he even going to be able to get passes off?
Anything, I don't know.
I understand the Ridley fascination, but I would wait for week 3 and 4 maybe to let Cam Ward get his feet. I would start Pickens, and then you might have to start Dobbins. I'd like Adunze. I think that Caleb likes to pass to him, but I'm not sure that I'm hearing a lot about DJ Moore, and that's why I'm a little hesitant to say Adunze and Pickens. You might have to go Dobbins and Pickens on that one. Let me just see. Adunze, Dobbins, Pickens. Let's see what the experts say who to pick. Adunze, Dobbins, Pickens, and who was the other guy? Ridley. Okay, they like Ridley, I believe, the experts. Okay, so they're saying Pickens and Ridley, and then Dobbins and Rome are 5 and 6. Let me get rid of Pickens because I would agree. Get Pickens. That would be my first one, and then they're saying Ridley. If you want to go with the experts, I would go Pickens and Ridley. I just think Ridley could have a or tough day. He might not get a lot of targets because Cam Ward might be running all over the field. It might be a marathon day for Cam Ward. So, then I would maybe go to Odunze after that if you don't want to go Ridley. Odunze, or I don't know that J.K. Dobbins will get so many touches over R.J. Harvey. Okay, we're getting a little behind here. Got Nix, JT, Jacobs, good. Chase, fine. Worthy. Now remember, after Rashee Rice comes back, Worthy's not going to have the value that he has right now. McBride, good. Pollard, I think Pollard's going to put up some good points because he's the number one. And then Egbuka. Yeah, you have a solid team. Again, I don't know that you should expect a lot from Egbuka week 1, but by week 2 or 3, you definitely will have week 2, 3, or 4, somewhere in there, when he gets his legs about him, but gets used to the NFL, he should be doing dynamite. Dak or Tua, opponent has Tua. Oh, you're saying Dak or Tua, who will have a better game? Well, I just saw a video about a fantasy guy saying don't start Dak. I've seen other people say start Dak against Philadelphia because they're going to have to pass all the time. It is a tough defense. Now, the experts say that Dak should have a better week than Tua. I just think the Miami offense, I think the Miami team in general is really rough sailing. Felicia, hey, let's go Buffalo. All right. Let me know on YouTube as well if you guys have any questions. My bad on the air. What error? My bad on the air. Oh, Dak or Tua, opponent has CD. Oh, Dak. Well, the experts are picking Dak. I tend to agree with that. I think Tua and the whole Miami offense is not a fine-tuned machine. I know that it's a new season, but they weren't a fine-tuned machine last year at the end of the season even, and I don't see that'll go. Okay, Najee or Chubb. I don't know that Najee is starting because of the eye patch, and Chubb is the number 1 in Houston, so I would go Chubb. So we're trading Amon-Ra, JT, Chris Olave for Malik, Brian Thomas Jr., and AK. Okay, so you're trading 2 wide receivers for a running back. How does it make you better? Amon-Ra is probably, you could argue that he might be the best name that of all those 6 players. You could say JT, AK. Yeah, I mean, you're trading JT for AK. AK catches a lot of passes. I'm trying to think, does JT, off the top of my head, I don't have a definitive answer on that, but they're both quality running backs. Chris Olave's a question mark. Malik's a little bit better. Brian Thomas is a little bit better than Chris Olave, theoretically. Amon-Ra is probably the best wide receiver. Then it probably goes Brian Thomas, then Malik, then Chris Olave for me anyway. I don't know how that makes your team so much better. You're giving away probably a really good wide receiver, and you're getting 2 middle-of-the-road wide receivers, or a little bit less than wide receivers, and then you're just swapping out running backs. And both should have decent seasons and carry a great workload as long as they obviously stay healthy. So, Donnie, I don't know how it makes your team better. Like, you might think, okay, I'm getting 2 middle-of-the-road wide receivers for a lot, I'm giving up a little bit better one and I'm getting a little bit worse one. I mean, do you need that many wide receivers? I mean, are you going to start everybody that you're trading for and all that? Then it's a whole different issue. I would almost say keep JT and just trade Amon-Ra and Chris Olave for Malik and Brian Thomas. I don't know why you have to throw in JT, because JT theoretically could very well have a much better season. I mean, it's a lot easier for Daniel Jones to hand the ball off than to throw the ball, and he's going to be handing it off to JT. All right, Jason Witten or Gary Barnidge. Witten, okay. What are we getting wrong here? That's not how we spell his name. Okay, Gary Barnidge, something isn't right. You're thinking of somebody else, Hampton or Montgomery for the year. Well, Montgomery is like the clear number 2. Hampton isn't so much. The only thing I would say about that is I don't know that I would expect a ton from Omarion Hampton right away. Because he might have a game or two where he stumbles a little bit early on, but I would think Hampton probably, to me, because he's, in my estimation, the clear number 1. That's why I would go with Hampton. Look, my takes are a lot different than a lot of the experts you guys watch, so you just let me know. Love or Stroud? You got to go Love. Oh, God, that's a kind of a tough one, though. You might have to go matchup Love or Stroud. I mean, Love has Golden now the past 2. Stroud had a real down year last year. The experts picked Jordan Love this week against Detroit. Oh, that's interesting. Detroit has a pretty good defense. They're picking Love for this weekend's game, so I would tend to agree with them on that. I guess overall, the Packers might be a little bit better team than Houston, and so sometimes that influences the picks as well. Pearsall or Odunze, I think you got to go Pearsall because he's the number 1. I'm not really high on him. And I know Caleb likes to throw, or at least last year early on, liked to throw to Odunze, but I'm thinking I got to go Pearsall and hope that CMC comes back and they can balance out that offense. I don't know that Brock Purdy's the same person that he was, 2-3 years ago. Okay, Devontae Smith or Ricky Pearsall. We're getting a lot of Pearsall questions tonight, huh? It's one of those nights. That's fine. I'm just saying. I keep moving this. Pearsall. Who was it? Odunze? Yeah. I'm guessing Pearsall, but let's just. Yeah, I would go Pearsall because he's the number 1. Hey, Xavier, what's going on? I know Roses. I'll get to you. Usually I take 2 Dolphins to get to the headline, but I think you were on last night. What's your outlook for DK Metcalf I think DK Metcalf is going to have a good season. I know a lot of people are saying, well, who's the number 2 to take off the heat from DK Metcalf? I think Rodgers and DK, and I think Pittsburgh is on a mission, sort of the way Burrow is, and the Bengals and Baltimore is with Lamar. I just think they want to show that they can get to I just think they want to show that they can win a playoff game. What is it? Pittsburgh hasn't won a playoff game in like 10 years or something ridiculous like that. So I think DK should have a good season. Look, he had some real famine years in Seattle, and he still put up good numbers. I don't see why he can't do that with Pittsburgh, and at least a really smart quarterback. Maybe he doesn't have the tools he once did and all that. All right. But so that's my thoughts on that. Okay. BS5. I cannot see right now. I apologize. I'm gonna have to put my reading glasses on. Okay, they help. All right. So we have right now Marvin Harrison Jr., Devontae Smith, or Ted McMillan at flex this week. I would go Harrison because I'm not high on Harrison, but they're playing Atlanta, and I question their defense, and he's the clear number 1. Devontae Smith is the number 2. He's playing Dallas. I don't know that he will get more points than A.J. Brown, okay, because he's the number 2. And he wasn't, when they were playing together last year, he wasn't putting up big games. He had, every once in a while. And Ted McMillan, the only reason why I'm hesitant week 1 with Ted McMillan is let's see how the rookie plays. He might have a great game. If you want to roll the dice, you can go Ted McMillan. But I'm telling you, rolling the dice is also choosing Marvin Harrison. He's the number 1. He's played with Kyler Murray. We know that offense. We know who's going to be running the ball. We know who's the tight end is. We know the quarterback, all of those things. That's why I'm picking Harrison. If you want to roll the dice a little bit and maybe get a wild card, a rookie wide receiver usually takes a few days, few weeks, few games to get adjusted to the NFL. There's a bigger transition from college to the pros for a wide receiver than there is for the running back. All right, let's take a real quick. We're not going to take a break. We're just going to say, hey, hit that like button, hit that follow button on TikTok. Hit those buttons, guys. I love to see the likes, and let's get some more follows up. Also on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and don't forget, why am I out? What is going? Oh, I see. Okay. I'm also on YouTube, guys. Don't forget, I do have a fantasy book out there. If you like what you're hearing, it's actually a really good book. I'm going to have to update it this year because the second half of the book talks about quality players coming up for 2025. But I'm telling you right now, it's a good book. It helps you out during the season. It's not just a book for drafting. Okay, it's not just a book for drafting. It's a book for the entire season, what to look for and how you get better. Remember, the draft is just the beginning. That's just like your ticket to get into the park. Okay, you have to monitor week in and week out who those top free agents are on your waiver wires. Okay, should I start Njoku or Evan Ingram? Everybody likes Evan Ingram. I think Njoku's going to have a strong season. I think he should have a strong game against Cincinnati. They don't have a very good defense. I think Flacco, he is Flacco's safety net. No doubt about it. He had a good season last year, and I see that continuing throughout this year. Ted McMillan, Jameson Williams, George Pickens, pick 2 to start. Again, the only reason why I would not pick Ted McMillan, Vince 3X, is because he's a rookie. Let's give him a week or 2 or 3 to make sure he has his feet underneath him. But I would go Jameson Williams. We know what to expect. He's going to be part of things. I know that in the preseason they were trying to get him into more things, and George Pickens should put up some, okay numbers. I know they're going up against Philadelphia, but they'll probably have to pass the ball a lot. And if you're the cover corner for Philadelphia and you're the better cover corner, and they picked up some cover corners, some cornerbacks in the preseason, so they're worried about their second one, Philadelphia. So I think Pickens gets some decent passes. Judy or Flowers week 1, I would go Judy. I don't love the wide receivers for Baltimore. I don't think they put up big enough numbers week in and week out, so I'm always reticent to say they should go. Pick 2, Ridley, Shakir, Tillman. I would definitely go Shakir. Ridley, I'm worried about playing Denver because he'll have Surtain on him most of the game. So that's why I tend to want to avoid him. Tillman, I got to refresh my memory. Cleveland wide receiver. Ooh. Yeah, I might go Ridley on that. I don't know that. Let's just see. Yeah, Ridley. I would go Ridley on that. Cedric Tillman last year, he played in 11 games. He was targeted 49 times. He had 339 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. Yeah, Tillman's a little bit of a question mark. And because of that, I'm actually saying go with Ridley, but Ridley might not have much better of a game than Tillman. All right. Yo, boss, Trey Benson or Braylon Allen? Everybody likes Braylon Allen. I don't know why Hall wouldn't play most of the time. So I question, everybody I know is excited about Braylon Allen, but maybe to cut to the chase, I don't really understand, because why wouldn't they play Hall? I know that there's some, statistically speaking, there's some question marks, but he wasn't as strong. Well, that team wasn't very good. Yeah. I would go Braylon Allen. Yeah. Braylon Allen has a better chance of making an impact in the game, I think, and playing more. So, yeah, I would go Allen. Start Jaylen Warren or Montgomery. Well, I have a hard time starting. I have a hard time with Montgomery because I really don't know where, what type of position he's going to play. I would probably go Jaylen Warren. For some reason, it was tripping me up with the other Warren, the tight end. But, yeah, I would go Jaylen Warren because he's the featured back with Pittsburgh, although they have a rookie. But I think they're going to use him. And God, I can't believe I'm saying sit Montgomery. But I think Gibbs is the clear number 1, and that's why I'm saying Jaylen Warren. But Montgomery's showed that he can put up good numbers last year. Jets or Texas defense? I would go Texas defense. Ollie Gordon or Garrett Wilson? Ollie Gordon. That's the Ollie everybody's talking about all the time. I always forget it. Is he going to get enough playing time, Ollie Gordon, as a running back for Miami? Ooh. Yeah, that worries me. Yeah, I would go Garrett Wilson. I don't know that Gordon gets playing time over Achane. What's up, Sideline Fans Moderator? How are you? How are you? Do you play the Lions? Matthew. Do I play the Lions? What do you mean by that? I mean, I'm not trying to be mean. I don't know if you're still around, Matthew, but yeah, do I play the Lions? I don't. You mean defense? Yeah, I think you do. What's up, LS? How you doing? Marvin Harrison and Ricky Pearsall. I would go Harrison based on the matchup. They play New Orleans, Gio. And hey, Gio, is this the same Gio? Gio was around last year, I think. Hey, LS, always good to see you. Thanks for the heart. The heart me, rather. I'm good. I just did my fantasy football draft today. Wow. Who are your top 3 players? Who you think I should put at flex? Brees, Jamo, or Olave? I don't know that I would put Olave. Let's go Brees, Jamo. But I could put Olave. Okay, Brees, Olave, and Williams. Yeah, I'd go Brees, but Jameson could be a secondary pick, but I would go Brees. Who you think should I put? Okay, I already did that one. T. Higgins or Ricky Pearsall? Oh, that's a very good question. Because T, I think, could have a very good game, but he is the number 2. Pearsall's the number 1. Not that matters too much when you come to wide receivers because they're in, they usually play the same amount of plays. But yeah, the experts are saying T. Higgins. That offense is crazy, and there's a lot of question marks behind San Francisco's offense. So, if CMC doesn't return the way that we want him to, the way that he was 2 years ago, it's going to hurt Pearsall because it won't open up the passing game. So I would go with T. Higgins on that. Rate my team, 12-man PPR, Burrow. Okay. Not borrow, but Burrow. Okay, you missed the U. Okay. I was like, what? It's not a bank, is it? Okay, Burrow. Marion Hampton, give him a week or 2, let him get his legs. Jones. I'm blanking on Jones. Garrett Wilson, Jerry Jeudy, Bowers good, Olave. Yeah, let's just see for a second here. We got 3 people on YouTube. Hey, let's get more people on YouTube. All right. Let's go to where are we going to here? Let's go to New Orleans. Yeah, if Rashid Shaheed sticks around, it might open up Olave, but I'm supposed to pick 1 or 2. Pearsall or Pickens full PPR, I would go Pickens. Pickens or DJ Moore, I would go Moore. Henderson or Pearsall at flex, point per you almost got to go Pearsall if it's point per reception PPR DB. Although that offense at San Francisco, it's going to be determined by how well or how poorly CMC plays. Wait, I'm trying to go back to. Oh, Aaron Jones. Yeah, I just thought of that, Nathan. Yeah, Olave. Yeah, I think I answered that one. Pearsall or Pickens. I would go Pickens, Tony Pollard, George Pickens, Garrett Wilson. Which one do I bench? Tony Pollard, George. I would bench Garrett Wilson. I just don't think Justin Fields is a very good passer, and I think he runs with the ball too much, and he'll take away some runs even from Breece Hall, or Braylon Allen, whoever the running back is. But I would sit Garrett Wilson. Is Tesla worth picking up deep competitive for? Okay, if Tesla's a nickname for someone, I'm not familiar with it. So Zazzy, I'm not sure. Pearsall or Pickens? I have Pearsall and Higgins up there. Pickens or DJ Moore? Is that the one I wanted to look up? Pickens or DJ Moore? Let's just see what the experts say. That's kind of a pick-em to me. And I know I shouldn't say that, but like there's nothing. They're saying DJ Moore. I think everyone thinks DJ Moore's the clear number 1 in Chicago, but Caleb does like to throw to Odunze, so I think he could go either way, really. But yeah, they're saying DJ Moore. I would have no issue with you starting DJ Moore. Should I start Baker or trade for Goff or Stroud? I would keep Baker. Goff did not put up the numbers near what Baker put up last year, and CJ Stroud had a miserable season. I would keep Baker. Baker helped a lot of people make the playoffs and even win their championship. I would go Jake Ferguson, Thomas Gonzalez. Brenton Strange is okay, but I think Ferguson is going to be a weapon in that offense with Dallas. And Darren Waller, he's coming back from some time off, so you got to give him some time. I don't know if he'll be up to speed. Tony Pollard, George Pickens. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Garrett Wilson, I already answered that one. Ford or Devontae Smith at the flex. I would go Jerome Ford because he's going to – I tend to – if it's close, I tend to go with the running back. I'm going with the running back here because it's easier for them to get the ball, and they usually are more consistent. Any thoughts on Caleb Johnson? Well, the thing with Caleb Johnson is I get the feeling – yeah, Warren is in front of him. Let me just double check. I know that he's in front of him. I'm not even worried about that, but yeah. I think they're going to use him, and he's a bigger back. They're going to use him. They obviously they have him for a few years. They just re-signed Jaylen Warren to a 2-year extension. So I think it's going to be, heavy and light, heavy and speed, speed and power situation there. I think they'll use him. I'm not sure how much or in what situations, but I think he's a good person to have because it could be that, he takes over that number one position sort of the way Gibbs did. That was also based on an injury, but the way Bucky did when they had those, 2-3-headed monsters and different teams. So yeah, I think Caleb Williams by the middle of the season, by 3 or 4 weeks, we should know what his role is with Warren not injured, with him healthy. But then if Warren gets injured, obviously his stock price goes through the roof. Pickens, Hall, or Ridley at flex. I want to say Pickens, but let's see what the experts say. Okay, hold on. Pickens, Hall. We're getting a lot of Pickens and Hall tonight, aren't we? You guys are all thinking alike. Where did they go? Pickens, Hall, or Ridley? I really am down on Ridley at least week 1 because he plays Denver, and I think Surtain's going to be all over him. So they're saying Breece Hall. You just pick one, right? Yeah, I would go with Breece Hall because he's the running back. I think Ridley's going to have a long game because they're going to put a lot. I mean, the coach for Denver is going to put a lot of pressure on Cam Ward. I mean, let's face it, that's what you do with a rookie quarterback. And Pickens, we don't really know his role, and we know CD will get most of them. So, all right. Did I miss DB? Is he no longer on your own? Yo. It's Gabriel. Hey. Which Gabriel? Is it the Mets Gabriel or is it Nathaniel's brother? Which one is it? Start Fields or May? I would start May. I don't think Fields is going to put up gigantic numbers. And I think, doesn't May even run a little bit? I know Fields runs a lot. So, yeah, I would go May. No questions about it. They play Vegas. Vegas didn't have a great defense last year. Fields plays Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense, I think, is possibly better than last year. May or Purdy, I would go May. Let's see. Hampton or Henderson. I would go Henderson right now just because he looked really strong. Hey, Faisal. He looked really strong in the preseason. Sutton or Ted at flex. For week 1, I would go Sutton. Go with the veteran over the rookie. Let's see. Again, as I've said, the wide receivers take a little bit of time to get adjusted to the NFL in general. Some do, some don't, but it might be 2 or 3 weeks. As I've said before, I haven't said tonight. You look at BTJ, you look at Ladd McConkey from last year, you look at their first 4 weeks versus their last 4 weeks. They were much better the last 4 weeks than they were the first 4 weeks. They were rough mostly the first 4 weeks. That's why I'm saying with the rookie wide receivers, and there's a lot of good ones out there. Or wait, Hampton. Wait. Yeah, on Tet. We're talking about Tet. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, Hampton's a running back. All right, my ADHD's all over the place. And that's why I'm saying just see where Tet is. Now, if you want to roll the dice and you like to take the risk, go with Tet. Say, oh, he's going to score 30 points. But know that it takes time. I mean, Harrison Jr. only had 885 yards last year. He was very up and down. This year, we think he'll be really good, so we'll have to see. We're hoping that he'll be really good. All right, I'm way behind. Egbuka or Devontae Smith? Great question. I mean, Egbuka is exciting, but I believe he's still the number 2 there. Okay. And obviously Baker can gel with Evans. Okay. Or does gel with Evans. What am I saying? What do we have here? Everybody else is injured. Godwin's injured. McMillan's injured. I would go with Devontae Smith only because the only reason why is because Egbuka is a rookie, and I don't know that he'll be fully prepared to play in the NFL week 1. It may take, week 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 or 5 for him to get his, NFL legs underneath him. I think Egbuka could have a better season than Devontae Smith, but not at week 1. I hope I'm being really clear about that. It's not that I like Devontae over Egbuka. I just don't know that Egbuka in week 1 or 2 will be the Egbuka we see in week 16 and 17. I traded away James Cook and Mike Evans for Saquon. Well, you did pretty good because Mike Evans is okay. I mean, he's not going to be a top guy in the NFL anymore. I guess I don't need these. Maybe I do. James Cook, and the reason why I like this trade, Chris, and you did a good job, is James Cook only had 1,009 yards rushing last year. He had 16 or I've heard 18. I can't remember. I thought it was 16, but maybe it was 18 touchdowns. So the majority of his points came from TDs. And so you don't want to have that. You don't want to, you want to diversify. All right. On Your Own says, should I start Breece Hall, Zay Flowers, or Travis Hunter? I would start Breece Hall. Travis Hunter is a rookie. Zay Flowers, I don't love the running backs with, or running backs. I don't like the wide receivers with Baltimore. Bateman or Flowers. What's your thoughts on Worthy? Okay, Worthy's worth everything, worth a lot. Outside of Mahomes, Worthy is the number 2 most important element to that offense. Outside of the line, guys. I'm not talking about the line. I'm talking about fantasy points, okay? So I think Worthy's good. When Rashee Rice comes back, Worthy drops down to number 2 again. And that's the way I see it. So once Rashee Rice comes back, Worthy's value goes down. But maybe, he's doing so well that it doesn't hurt you. My fear with Worthy is, if you notice the games he was in last year, not on every play, but some plays he would catch the ball, take a step, go out of bounds for no real reason. Catch the ball, don't get his 2 feet in or his 2 toes in. He didn't always, in my head, know where he was on the field, and great wide receivers, Jerry Rice, all of those guys know where they are on the field. They don't just jump out of bounds. They don't, they get those 2 toes in bounds. He wasn't doing that last year, and it was a point of frustration with me. Smitty or Pearsall week 1, I think you're talking about Devontae Smith. I think I've said Pearsall all night because he's the number 1. I don't love Pearsall. I don't love that offense, but you're talking about Devontae Smith, who's a number 2, and Pearsall will be the number 1. So he'll be a weapon, but you got to figure Brock Purdy's going to be thrown to Kittle. He's going to be handing off to CMC, but CMC has to be the CMC of old for it to be any good. All right. I love stacks and handcuffs. I'm not sure what that means. Warren or Dobbins? I'm assuming you mean the running back Warren. I would go the running back Warren. If for some reason you're talking about the tight end with the Colts, I would go Dobbins possibly. Again, that I'm not saying going with a catching rookie over someone who's a veteran. All right, J.K. Dobbins, DK, or Aaron Jones at flex. I would go DK. I think DK is, outside of Rodgers, the most important, or you could say the second most important fantasy player on Pittsburgh. People say avoid Pittsburgh. I think DK will be good. Aaron Jones is going to lose carries to Jordan Mason. So I'm not impressed with that. J.K. Dobbins is going to lose carries to R.J. Harvey. So I think DK is clearly the number one and should get a lot of targets. We'll see. Rate team, Daniels, fine. Chase, fine. BTJ, good. Jacobs, good. Connor, okay. Ingram, everybody's high on Ingram. I think he's maybe middle of the road, a little bit better. And Chuba and Henderson. Yeah, I think you make the playoffs as long as Daniels plays like he did last year. Everybody stays healthy. Jacobs was very consistent. BTJ at 1,280 yards, 82 yards, something like that. If he can improve upon that, that'll really help you out. Connor, I'm a little worried about. I've heard some speculation that he might lose his job midway through the season, or he's not going to be as effective. So you might want to be on the lookout for a running back. You might want to be on the lookout for Ingram. Everybody's high on Ingram. I don't know why. I mean, he was the number one where he was last season, and he didn't put up gigantic numbers. Chuba, it'll be interesting to see how he plays with Rico, but I do think Henderson will be a clear number one and put up some good numbers. Crafter Ingram to start. Ooh, let's see. Crafter Ingram. Let's look at that one. And thank you, Sidelines. You're being you're very helpful highlighting that. Yeah, they're saying Ingram. I would go with Ingram. I mean, I think Tucker Kraft in Green Bay has so many options, and they even had that last year. So I would go Evan Ingram. Everyone's thinking that Peyton, the coach, will have Evan Ingram in a ton. So we'll see. Maybe after week one, maybe after this weekend, I'll say, oh, Evan Ingram is the second coming of, Tony Gonzalez, but we'll see. J.K. Dobbins, DK, or Aaron Jones. Did I answer this one? DK. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I was we're a little bit behind here. Henderson or Hampton for RB2 full PPR. I would go Henderson week one. Ridley or Diggs. With Ridley going against Surtain, I would go Diggs. I've been saying, well, the other thing too, you have to remember, not only is Ridley going against Surtain, they have a rookie quarterback. It's his first game in the NFL. Sean Payton is going to bring the heat and more heat. He's going to sack him. He's going to run him out of bounds. He's going to make him go on the run. He's going to make him fumble. He's going to try to force fumbles. I just don't even know that Cam Ward is going to be able to get enough throws to get Ridley enough targets. I'm being honest about that, and think about it. Unless their offensive line is, incredible, I just don't know how they hold back on that. All right. DJ Moore or McMillan at flex. Okay. If you're talking about Ted McMillan, and I'm assuming you are, which is fine. I'm not the Jalen McMillan with Tampa Bay. I would go DJ Moore only because we're not 100% sure how McMillan will be used or how effective he'll be in the offense. And as I've said multiple times before, maybe not so much recently, but it's a lot more difficult for a wide receiver to go from college to the NFL. And my examples are clear. They're from last year. Look at BTJ's first month versus his last month of the season. Look at Ladd McConkey's first month versus his last month. First months are rough. Last months, if they're good, they put up good numbers. I think Tet will be good. I think Tet will put up good numbers, sort of in the range of Ladd, and which is 1,009 or something like that. Maybe it's a little bit more. 1,009 is James Cook rushing, I believe, but he's in like 1,050 or somewhere in there. He has 1,000 yards, and then BTJ had 1,282 yards receiving. Remember, guys, 1,000 yards if you play all 17 games. Real quick, this is my editorial. I didn't say so much tonight. If you play 17 games and you're trying to get 1,000 yards rushing or receiving, that's only 59 yards a game. That's not elite. Okay, we think 100 yards a game. 100 yards a game is almost double what you need. If you get 118 yards receiving or rushing in a game, you've doubled. You don't have to get any yards the next game because you've doubled the total to get to 1,000 yards. Just think about that. And the NFLPA representative or president, I forget what they call him, said quite possibly that it's not out of the question to play 18 games. So once you get to 18 games, what does that bring it down to, 50 or lower? I mean, I'm not going to do the math now, but all right. Nick Chubb or RJ Harvey week one. I would go Nick Chubb. He's a veteran. He knows what to expect. RJ Harvey, week 1, we don't know 100% what to expect. I think he'll be good. But I think DK will take some of those carries away from him early on. I think over time and during the season, RJ will get more and more carries. I'm just checking something real quick. Yeah, Denver. Okay. Tyrone or Breece Hall? I would go Breece Hall. Jerry Jeudy, Marvin Harrison Jr. I would go, well, either one's a good pick. I think Jerry Judy's going to have a strong game. Marvin Harrison plays a weak New Orleans defense. So really, in a lot of ways, it's almost a pick 'em in my mind because they both play teams that they should get the ball from a lot. Jerry Jeudy, Harrison. I'm just seeing what the experts pick. They go Marvin Harrison. I guess the thought is Njoku will get a lot of those passes as well. So yeah, if you go here, I would have Harrison up just by a little bit. All right. Diggs, Downs, or Ford at flex. I would go Ford because he's the starting running back. Diggs, we got to make sure he's fully healthy and he's really part of that defense. I think Ford is a more solid pick. Diggs, Downs, or Ford. Let's just see what the extra. Diggs, Downs, or Ford. Experts pick Diggs. They actually picked Ford last. I guess they believe that Diggs is going to be fine and he's playing a Raiders defense that isn't great. So I don't know. The experts are saying Diggs, so maybe that's the conservative choice. I might pick Ford over Diggs. I don't always agree with the experts, and that gets me in trouble. People say I don't know ball because of it, and that's I just appreciate them watching, okay? I appreciate them watching. Don't forget that follow button. Hit that follow button. Hit those likes. We have 2,981 likes. Let's get to 3,000. I also have subscriptions for $2.99. If you subscribe to my channel and you send me a DM on TikTok, I will respond to you. I'll help you out during the season. I check that thing multiple times every day. So if you have a question, who to start, or someone gave you a trade, let me know. All right. Start Evans, Kamara, or McConkey at flex. Evans, Kamara. Okay. Well, let's look that one up. Evans, Kamara, or McConkey. Haven't had too many lad questions. This is going to be a pure matchup thing here. Yeah, they're saying Mike Evans, but lad is Mike Evans 51, lad 40, Alvin, hold on one second. How do can I make this bigger? Okay, so they're saying Evans is the pick and then McConkey. Kamara plays Arizona. Actually, Arizona has a pretty decent defense. So yeah, I would go Evans based on the matchup. All right, who wins? Saquon and Warren for AJ Brown and James Cook. Okay, which Warren are you talking about? JG. Saquon. Okay, James Cook had 1,009 yards and had it was either 16 or 18 or 17 touchdowns. Saquon is much better than James Cook. If James Cook isn't scoring touchdowns, he's not putting up good fantasy points for you. So there's that, okay? So you got to be on the lookout for that. If you're talking about Warren, the running back, so you would be trading 2 running backs for a much there's a chance that Warren could have a better season than James Cook if Cook isn't scoring touchdowns. AJ Brown is sort of the outlier because he's the only wide receiver. I expect AJ Brown to have a very good season. Is he going to put up points like Saquon? I don't think so. I don't think Saquon's going to get to 2,000 yards, but there's no reason that he doesn't get to 1,600. I don't know that AJ Brown gets to 1,600 yards receiving. I actually think Saquon and Warren could be the better tandem because I think James Cook, there's a big question mark. If he's not getting touchdowns, he's not getting points. Let's see. We already did that one. Let me just go back. Ramondre Stevenson or Dobbins to start this week. I think Stevenson might be injured. Let me just see real quick. New England's roster. Ramondre Stevenson. What does it say? Is he injured or not? Oh, I don't know what site I just went to. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Oh my God, I can't spell. I'm losing people, aren't I? Okay, why does this T keep showing up? Okay, hold on. I don't know. Come on. I think I have to pay RotoWire again. Okay, RotoWire. What are we getting at? I don't want a cheat sheet. Fantasy. Are they doing betting now? Okay, we're losing people, aren't we? NFL featured tools. I don't want a draft kit. Rankings. Just give me the freaking players. Okay, here we go. Hold on. God, this site sucks. Or my internet sucks. Okay. We are losing people. Ramondre Stevenson, I'm not seeing that he is listed as injured. Let's see. Rank set to play. Stevenson isn't listed on the Patriots injury report, so he's not injured anymore. Okay. Stevenson managed an unspecified injury, blah, blah, blah. 27-year-old to claim key role, particularly on early downs in backfield. I guess I would go Stevenson over Dobbins. All right. Breece Hall over Tyrone Tracy. Okay. We are jumping. Tyrone Tracy, Breece Hall. I'd go Breece Hall. We are actually gaining people. Okay, that's good to know. Now we're back at 80, but we were at 89 for a second. Cousins or Waddle? People like Waddle because they think Tyreek's over. Do you really think Tyreek's over? I mean, I'll thank you on your own for the 10. When you say Cousins, I'm drawing a blank here. All I think of is Kirk Cousins. Is there a Cousins I'm forgetting? Yeah. Kirk Cousins or Waddle. Do you have like a super flex? Is that it? I don't know that Kirk Cousins is going to play over Penix. So I would go Waddle then. I just don't know if maybe it's spell check Cousins or something. Where do you think K9 will finish? K9, I think, is going to lose his job at some point with Charbonnet. I mean, K9 was not very good at all towards the end of last season. So I just really worry about, where he's going to play and if he keeps his starting role. So Jesus is Lord, repent. Thank you, John Blick. Start to Devontae, Garrett Wilson, Pearsall, Egbuka, or DeAndre Swift. One spot is flex. I would go Devontae, and I would actually go DeAndre Swift. I tend to go with the running back because I think that their points are more consistent. Pearsall, I'm really worried about if CMC comes back, if Brock Purdy's any good anymore. Garrett Wilson, I don't know that Justin Fields is a great passer, and that worries me. I think Swift, it's much easier for Caleb to hand him the ball, and he did have a good season for the first half last year, and they have a much better offensive line. That's why I'm going with DeAndre Swift. So if somebody has a correction to that, let me know. All right. Trade Gibbs and Evans for CMC and Nico. I got McConkey as my wide receiver, but I'm iffy about it. Trade Gibbs. Wow. I wouldn't trade Gibbs for CMC. I wouldn't trade Gibbs. I don't know that CMC is going to be the CMC of 2 years ago. I would not trade Gibbs. Gibbs, yes. What was he on Madden or whatever it is? And people say there's a curse. Who cares? Gibbs, I think, should have a great season. Is he going to get 2,000 yards? No, but he's definitely going to get 1,600 yards. Yes, Evans probably won't have the year Nico has. So maybe you trade Evans and somebody else on your bench for Nico. I would not give Gibbs up. Give Gibbs up. That's hard to say, actually. For CMC, in essence, is what you're kind of doing here. I just wouldn't do it because until CMC can show me that he's CMC of old, he doesn't have much value to me because when he came back last year, he wasn't good. And remember, he went to Europe or Eastern Europe or Western Asia or whatever you want to call it to get checked out last year. So he didn't even stay in the U.S. And I'm not saying that we're the only place you can go for, injuries, but like he went across the world to get checked out. So I just don't know that I think he comes back at 80 to 85%. How much you got Ridley dropping against Surtain? Maybe 7 points. I think here's the question. It's not just Surtain versus Ridley, guys. It's Sean Payton and him playing the wizard of coaching against a rookie quarterback that he's going to keep so much pressure on. There's going to be sacks and potentially fumbles by the quarterback, running out of bounds, running with the ball, making bad throws, holding on to the ball too long, all of that, which I know sometimes is a sack, but if you're in front of the line of scrimmage, it's not technically a sack. So, but that's what I'm thinking about. That it's not just Surtain versus Ridley. It's not just that. It's also Peyton's going to bring the heat on that rookie quarterback. I mean, do you think he's not going to? I think he is. I'm debating Ridley or Jordan Mason in my 20-man. I think the experts say Ridley. I'm going to look it up. I just don't think that Ridley's going to have. I think week 2. I mean, I'm not sure who they play. Wait, and Jordan Mason. I'm just worried about Mason getting touches. Yeah, they're clearly saying Ridley. I tend to agree with that. I don't know that Aaron Jones loses that many carries this week, although the rumor mill is saying that, somewhere in the season, Aaron Jones will probably lose his starting job. Kenneth Walker will lose his starting job, but we have to see how that plays out. Help, please. I'm down bad. You're down bad. You're already down? The season hasn't started. Start Dobbins, Ford, or Eckler. I would go Ford, but I think the experts are going to go against me. I think Ford against that Cincinnati weak defense is going to be good. Okay, Dobbins, Ford, or Eckler. I guess Eckler is sort of, if Eckler can put up some numbers like he did with, I keep wanting to say San Diego, gosh bless it, with the Charge. They're saying Dobbins, Eckler, and they're actually picking Ford last. That's interesting. See, I would pick Ford because he's a starting running back and he's playing Cincinnati. They're saying J.K. Dobbins, but I think Dobbins loses some carries to R.J. Harvey. And I actually think that the one thing I got to say is I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not a gambling guy per se, but I think Denver could be up big against Tennessee and their rookie quarterback. And they put R.J. Harvey in more. I could easily see that happening. Like let's say Cam Ward throws 2 or 3 interceptions in the first half, fumbles the ball. I mean, or a combination or a little bit of all of that. So they're saying J.K. Dobbins. So I would say the experts pick J.K. Dobbins. On a personal note, I would put Ford in there. Pickens or Emeka, I would go Pickens because he's the veteran. We don't know exactly the role of Emeka, and we don't know, and it does take longer for college wide receivers to get a good grasp of the NFL. 3-4 weeks possibly. As I use as an example all the time, the one thing to look about is BTJ first 4 weeks, Ladd McConkey's first 4 weeks versus their last 4 weeks of the season. You like Brenton Strange this year on the Jags? He's my sleeper tight end. You have a sleeper tight end. My son and I joke about that, sleeper tight ends. Look, guys, if he's middle of the road tight end, what do you expect from him? 5 to 10 points every week? Is he going to be what Brock Bowers was last year? Is he going to put up numbers that are, surprising? Probably not. Not on that team. I mean, maybe he becomes a good solid, maybe an upper middle tight end, but I don't know how you have a sleeper tight end unless they're putting up, normal like Jerry Jeudy or T Higgins numbers, not Jamar Chase, but T Higgins numbers. That's how you become a sleeper tight end. Otherwise, you're just most tight ends are somewhere between 3 to 8 points. If he's 5 to 10 points on average, that's a little bit better than average. Lucas asks, start Sutton or Flowers. I'd go Sutton. I don't like the wide receivers with Baltimore that much. Start Ertz or Kraft. I would say Ertz, but I just think there's so many pieces that they pass to. Ertz in Green Bay is what I'm talking about. They had 4 to 5 wide receivers that always got the ball. Yeah, I would go Zach Ertz. Oh no, they're saying Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft against Detroit. Zach Ertz against the experts are picking Tucker Kraft 98-2. My question is, does Golden get some catches? I know Reed, I think he might be out of the game or not playing, so we got to worry about that. But they have Dobbs and Wicks and 18 other people to pass to like they did last year. They're saying Tucker Kraft. I would probably go Zach Ertz because they're playing the Giants. And, they have Debo, they have McLaurin, but I think Ertz, I guess Kraft was a little bit better than Ertz last year. Ertz is a little, as I like to say, long in the tooth. So I could see you going with Kraft. I guess but I would, on a matchup basis, I would go Zach Ertz because you're playing Detroit. Would you start Hampton against KC or Tet McMillan versus Jacksonville? I would go Tet versus Jacksonville because Jacksonville's defense overall is not very good usually, and it hasn't been for a while. And Kansas City can make some plays, and I believe they were good against the run last year, although last year is not a sign of this year, but they have Chris Jones. They have a lot of the same elements. Hey, my man Faisal. All right, start 2, flex 1. Pickens, Egbuka, Garrett Wilson, Leggett. I would go Pickett. To be conservative, I would go Pickett and Wilson, but there's really a strong. I don't even know that I would go for Leggett. There's a strong sign of me that would go Pickens and Egbuka. I'm not 100% sure that Justin Fields passes well, and he runs with the ball a lot. I don't know how many opportunities that actually gives Garrett Wilson. But Egbuka, he's a rookie, and will he understand the NFL game situation in week 1? And that's my big concern. So probably Pickens and Wilson. But if you want to take a little bit more of a gamble, I'd go Pickens and Egbuka. But know that Egbuka could get like 1 point. He could drop a few passes, run the wrong route, all of those things that rookies do in their first game. Golden or Pearsall? Look, let me look this up what the experts say. I bet you they say Golden. The thing about it is, I know Golden's going to be a good player. I believe that Golden is going to be a good player. However, in week 1, I'm not 100% sure that he's going to be, Wow. The experts actually pick Pearsall like I would. Pick the veteran, although Pearsall doesn't have so many games, so many catches. But, he has played in the NFL before where Golden hasn't. And we're not 100% sure. We believe he's kind of the number 1, especially with Reed possibly out of the game. But we'll just have to see how that goes. But yeah, I would go Pearsall there. I can't believe the experts agree with me. Egbuka or Metcalf to start. Again, I would probably go Metcalf because he's played there before. He's played in the NFL. Travis Hunter or Aaron Jones, half PPR. I'd go Aaron Jones. I don't know what to expect from Travis Hunter. I don't know if he'll be on all the offensive plays that he possibly can because he also plays defense. We'll have to see how that plays out. Should I start Calvin Ridley or Travis Hunter? I wouldn't want to start either one of them. I'm not trying to be mean there, yellow face, but I guess you start Calvin Ridley because you don't know exactly what to expect from Travis Hunter. And I know the experts are high on Ridley, but Ridley has Surtain to contend with. And then he also has what I believe Sean Payton's defense that's going to bring all kinds of heat to the rookie quarterback and not be able to pass the ball to Ridley. He's going to get sacked. He's going to get hurried. He's going to, run out of bounds. He's going to throw an interception. He's going to fumble, something like that. Sit 1 this week. Tracy Jr., Devontae, Terry. I would sit Tracy because I think Devontae Adams will have a solid game, and I think Scary Terry will be good. Like Booker or Metcalf, I'd go Metcalf. Did I answer that one before? Pearsall or Warren? Which Warren? Oh, Tet, Pearsall or Warren. I would wait a week on Tet to see how he does because he's a rookie and there's a steep learning curve for wide receivers. If you're talking about the running back, Warren, and not the tight end with Indianapolis, I would go Warren. If you're talking about the running back. Ibuka versus Atlanta. Garrett Wilson versus Pittsburgh. I would probably go Garrett because he's the veteran. Again, we don't know exactly what Emeka is going to do. I think Emeka could have a really good season. I just don't know. Week 1 is the week to play him. Now, week 2, I could be saying, you got to put Emeka in there. You got to put Ted in there. They had great games. Okay, I might be saying that. But right now, we don't know exactly, where they are in their NFL understanding. For a wide receiver to go from college to the NFL, there's a great learning curve. However, for a running back, the learning curve is not as high as it is for wide receivers. Just think about it. Running backs can get into the league and play really well, from week 1. It's not always the case with wide receivers. And my example, just go back last year, look at the first 4 weeks of BTJ and Ladd and the last 4 weeks for both of them. They did a lot better the last 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks were what I would consider rough. All right, I'm way behind. Let's get up. Start 2, Jones, Cooks, Taylor. Okay, I would go Taylor, and I would probably go Jones. I'm not a huge fan of Cooks. Egbuka or Connor at flex start, I'd go Connor, because it's rookie versus veteran week 1, and he's a rookie wide receiver. So that's why I would go Connor. Garrett Wilson or Stephon Diggs in the flex. Okay, let's turn to the experts. Wait, no, I just missed it. Wilson or Diggs, right? That's what we were talking about. Experts pick Garrett Wilson. Wow, really? Yeah, they're picking Garrett Wilson. So I would go Garrett Wilson because I was going to say it's a flip them to me. But I would go Garrett Wilson. I still don't think Justin Fields is, well, what he's shown so far in his career. I don't think he's a great starting quarterback because he doesn't pass very well and he runs. So he takes away a lot of the touches from the running back. Okay, Dak or T-Law? Trevor Lawrence. I would go Dak. Dak has weapons to throw to. Think about it, and his offensive line is still pretty good. So I think Dak should do well. The problem with Dallas is their offense is imbalanced. They don't have a running game, so you can just think that they're going to pass on every play. Egbuka or James Conner at flex. Again, we're getting a lot of Egbuka questions tonight, which is fine. It's not a complaint. I would hesitate week 1 starting Egbuka because he's a wide receiver. Wide receivers coming from college have a little bit of a learning curve, more so than running backs. Look at Ladd and look at BTJ. First 4 weeks last year versus last 4 weeks. That's the example I give. So I would go James Conner, but Egbuka could have a season like BTJ did last year, especially with Baker as the quarterback. Njoku or Ferguson, I would go Njoku because I think Pickens takes away some of Ferguson's targets. Egbuka or Tet, I might go Tet on that because he's the clear number 1 in Carolina, where Egbuka's 2 behind Evans, number 2 wide receiver. Egbuka or James Conner, I already answered that one. Egbuka or Hampton, half PPR. I would go probably Hampton because he's a running back. When in doubt. Yeah, and I think Hampton is. Yeah, I think with Najee having the eye injury, I think Omarion could quietly have a pretty decent game. Although he's playing Kansas City and they're actually decent against the run, but look, to get 1,000 yards receiving or rushing, all you need is 59 a week. I think Omarion Hampton could easily get 59 rushing yards. DK or Golden, I would go DK week 1 because I don't know exactly how Golden is going to fit into the mix. That Rodgers has a connection with DK. They practiced together before he signed with Pittsburgh, and he's a veteran. So I would go DK this week. Monitor the situation. Golden could put up big numbers. All I can say is I believe Golden to be riskier. DK is maybe a little conservative. Maybe DK gets you somewhere between 8 to 15, and Golden can get you anywhere from 2 to 20. Okay, it's sort of my thought process. But I would go with DK because I think that his range is tighter, it's closer together, and he's done it and been there before. Egbuka or Travion Henderson, I would go Henderson. Again, running back is a much smaller learning curve than a wide receiver going from college to the NFL. PPR, flex, JSN, or Kamara. Kamara, though. Let me see what the. Oh, I can't just put JSN in. I have to put. All right. Experts are picking JSN 70 to 30. Yeah, I could see that. Let me just see Kamara, though. Last year receiving, he had 543 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. He only had 6 rushing and only had 950 yards. But combined, he had 1,400 yards. I mean, he does catch the ball for a running back, and that's pretty good. And where are we at with this? You trade in BTJ, Hampton, and McBride for Neighbors, Jacobs, and Laporta. I don't love that. Sutton, Marvin Harrison. Traded Pierce on J. Okay. I can't start. Where was the Kamara question? My chat is running wild, so I apologize, guys. I'm talking to my... Oh, here it is. PPR, flex, JSN, or Kamara. I know the experts like JSN, and if you want to go with the experts, that's like, I don't know, 30 top fantasy guys. Do it. I would probably go with Kamara because he did have 543 receiving yards last year, which is, I think, more than Pearsall had. And he's starting wide receiver 1 for San Francisco. Okay, you trading BTJ, Hampton, and McBride for Neighbors, Jacobs, and Laporta. McBride's better than Laporta. Jacobs is really consistent. Last year, he wasn't maybe like Saquon, but he was in that tier right underneath him. Amari and Hampton should be good, but we're not 100%. I think BTJ by the year's end was better than Neighbors. I think the real difference maker here is Jacobs. But if Hampton gets 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards rushing, which if he plays all 17 games, guys, to get 1,000 yards rushing in a 17-game season, you only need 59 yards a game. That's nothing. That's not elite, And they're talking about the NFLPA president said, they might go to 18 games. So what's that, like 50 yards, 48 yards, whatever it might be? I mean, that's nothing. You can get 100 yards, and that's like equal to 2 games, receiving and rushing. So I don't know that I love that trade, because if Hampton takes off, you got BTJ and you got McBride, who's better than Laporta. And I think BTJ proved very solid last year. I mean, and Neighbors has that carousel of quarterbacks. And if they put Jackson Dart in, they're going to put all kinds of pressure on Dart. They're not going to let him get time to throw the ball. He's a rookie. So I don't think Russell Wilson is the answer. So I don't know that I love that trade. Okay, let me get caught up here. We're at 80 people. We were at 90 something, and everybody dropped off. What do you trade Ashton Jeanty for Brian Thomas Jr.? Well, you got to figure Brian Thomas Jr. is entering his 2nd year, so it's not like he's been doing this for 3 or 4 years. So there's a little bit of a question mark behind him. Ashton Jeanty's love has kind of fallen off in the last month, as far as I'm concerned. It's all about Henderson, Harvey, and Hampton. Henderson, Harvey, and Hampton, all the H's, the 3 H's. So, yeah, I would do that. If you're getting rid of Jeanty for Brian Thomas, I think that's a pretty good trade. Now, if you need a wide receiver, if you're weaker in running backs, I wouldn't do it. But if you need a wide receiver, I would definitely do it. DeAndre Swift or Jerome Ford, I would go Swift. They've upgraded their offensive line. They have what's perceived to be a better coach. Caleb Williams has his second year. I'd go DeAndre Swift on that one. Let's just see what the experts say. Ford or Swift? In this one, watch them say Ford. I don't think they love Ford, though. I don't think they respect Ford. Yeah, they're going Swift 99-1. I just don't think these experts really respect Jerome Ford very much. Superflex, Herbert or May? It's basically a matchup situation with them. You got to figure, or someone, I was having this debate with someone earlier in the week. Yeah, they're saying May, the experts. I was going to say May. They play Vegas, New England. New England plays Vegas, and Justin Herbert plays Kansas City. Kansas City's defense is actually pretty good. So, yeah, I would go Drake May. But you got to figure that Justin Herbert, is this the time? Is he going to become an elite quarterback? Is he going to improve? Because last year his stats were not awesome. Keon Coleman or Aaron Jones. If they're kind of equal, I would always go with the running back. So I'm going Aaron Jones, even though I think there's a strong possibility that he loses his starting role sometime this season. Okay, Chase says got offered Hurts and David Montgomery for Kyler Murray and Bucky. Don't accept because Montgomery is a number 2 running back. Bucky's a number 1. And, I know that people will say Hurts is better than Murray, but let's see. I mean, what is the difference in them? I mean, Murray had his team in first place for a long time. Let's just see what Murray did last year. Murray had 3,800 yards, 21 and 11. 3,800, 21 and 11. But, I know that he rushes a lot more. He had 18 and 5, and he had 29. 630 yards rushing, though, for Hurts. That gives him a little bit of the edge, but I didn't look up rushing for Murray. Murray had 572. I wouldn't make that trade because Murray is actually in the range of Hurts. It's just that Hurts has a Super Bowl championship and Murray doesn't. They're pretty close if you look at their stats. I mean, Murray has more passing yards, more touchdowns, and like 60 less rushing yards. I don't think there's a huge difference. Hurts and Puka for Gibbs and Terry McLaurin. Why don't you just trade Hurts for Gibbs then? I mean, I think Puka probably puts up strong numbers. I think McLaurin has another 1,000-yard season, but I think Puka could outperform Terry from a receiving yards perspective. I just don't know that. I'm assuming Hurts is like your bench, obviously, because you're not trading for another quarterback. So you're trading your backup, and you're getting you're getting a really good running back in Terry McLaurin. So my guess is you don't need Hurts, you don't need the quarterback, and you have pretty good wide receivers. So, yeah, it's getting Gibbs and Terry McLaurin would be good under those circumstances. If Hurts is your starter, obviously you wouldn't do that if he was. So I think with him not being your starter, you're trading Puka for Terry and you're getting Gibbs. I think that's an upgrade as long as Hurts is not your starter. Harvey, Hall, or Ford. I would go Hall only because Harvey's a rookie. Let's make sure that he's ready to go. Oh, no, we got Terry's. We got Terry. Here goes the whole live stream at 115 people. Don't forget, everybody, to hit that follow button. Hit those like buttons. We're at 5,300 likes. Also, I have a fantasy football book. If you like it, go to Amazon, search Geyser, and dominate your league. A lot of good information, not just about the draft, guys, about what to do throughout the entire season, how to win your league. All right. What's up, Terry's?
What's up?
Start Murray or Goff? I would go Murray because they're playing New Orleans.
Carolina?
No. Arizona's playing New Orleans. Saquon and Warren. Okay, look at this. Okay, Terry, so you tell me. Saquon and Warren. Now, I don't know which Warren, but for A.J. Brown and Cook.
Tyler.
You think Tyler?
Tyler, yeah.
You think Tyler's the tight end, right?
Are you talking about running backs?
Well, he says Saquon and Warren, but I don't know if he's talking about the Warren of the Colts or the Warren of the Steelers. J Jig, he was on earlier today. Okay.
It's either.
Well, I know it's either one of them, but we got to figure out which one it is. J Jig, you got to tell us who you got. Is it which Warren?
Honestly, I think it's Tyler Warren because I don't see a lot of people drafting Jalen Warren because they got that other running back.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Oh, he said Jalen.
So it's Jalen. Yeah, I think he's trading 2 running backs for AJ Brown and Cook. Here's the thing with Cook. Cook scored 16 or 18 touchdowns last year. Only had 1,009 yards rushing. Remember, 1,009 yards rushing. It's 1,000 yards. But if he played all 17 games, maybe he only played 16. That's only about 65, 68 yards a game on average. Okay. If you play 17 games, it's 59 yards per game. So Cook doesn't put up big numbers. I think Warren will put up more yards than Cook if Cook stays about where he was last year. I think Saquon is the star. You want a wide receiver, and for some reason you must love Philadelphia, and that's fine. I just don't know that I would give up Saquon for AJ Brown. I would give up Saquon maybe for Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, but I don't know that AJ Brown pulls the trigger for me. And Cook and Warren are about equal. So you're basically trading Saquon for AJ Brown. I think that's a huge downgrade, personally. Although people don't think of Saquon, even though he had this fantastic season, everybody's talking Bijan and Jamar Chase. But what makes you think that Saquon can't get at least 1,600 to 1,800 yards this year? I mean, I think he can. He's the focal point still of the offense outside of, he's probably more important. Well, in the Super Bowl, this proves to be wrong, but he was more important going into the Super Bowl than Hurts was, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But that was proven wrong because Hurts came up big. Brock for Kelsey. Yeah, Brock for Kelsey. What? You don't want Kelsey, Feisty Bagel. No. Kelsey is like average. Brock is well above average tight end. Jaden Daniels.
He gets to like receiver type points.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey doesn't put up good numbers anymore. Brock for Kelsey and Jaden Daniels. Hurts is my current starter. Brock for Kelsey. Oh, Brock for Kelsey and Jaden Daniels. I guess that's okay. But I don't know. My only concern is, will Jaden Daniels have that sophomore jinx? Will he play as well as he did last year? I think so. He's on one of my teams, but I don't know for certain that that's the case. But yeah, I think that's a good trade. I think Brock for Kelsey and Jaden Daniels is actually a good trade, even with you having Hurts, because if Hurts isn't performing or one of them gets hurt, no pun intended, you have one or the other to plug in. Pick 2, Terry. Oh, here we go. Pick 2, Terry. Your man, as you like to say, Chuba or Egbuka. Again, as I've been saying all night, and nights before, for going from college to the pros as a wide receiver, there is a huge learning curve. So that's why I would sit Egbuka this week, because he may lay a real egg. Like, he might get 0 points. He might drop everything thrown to him. He might run the wrong route, whatever. I would go Terry McLaurin, and I would go Chuba. It's Chuba, but you like Chuba, so we go there. All right, we're way behind. Ford with a start. Wait, what's that question mean? Yeah, I think Jerome Ford. I think Jerome Ford, like, if I put in Jerome Ford right now with the so-called fantasy experts, there's no love for Ford. I think Ford should have a good game. I mean, you figure Flacco's going to go to Njoku, Judy, and he's going to hand the ball off to Ford. And Cincinnati does not have a very good defense on, whether it's passing or running. Okay, CMC. Okay, this guy, whatever you call that, the rock and roll sign, says CMC or Jay Taylor for the year. I always am interested by these. Are there some leagues where you have to lock in a player for a year? Like, I always wonder about that question. Well, here's the thing, okay? CMC, in my mind, has a huge question mark. Is he CMC from 2 years ago? Is he 80% of CMC, which puts him maybe right around Jonathan Taylor, maybe underneath Jonathan Taylor? And for that reason, and people are going to say I don't know ball, but I would go Jonathan Taylor because we kind of know what to expect. But again, and I use this as an example, CMC went out of the country. He went to Europe to get looked at when he was injured last year because I guess no one here in the U.S. could give him a good, I don't know, just we're good enough to look at his injury.
Yeah, he didn't go to Germany.
Yeah, so that has always sort of worried me. You don't hear other players who are injured going to Germany to be looked at. So I in the back of my head, I'm like, I see people pick CMC in the top 10, the first round, top 10 kind of thing, all this kind of stuff. I hear the stories. I hear people, other fantasy experts on their videos saying, oh, CMC, he's going to. Guys, I don't feel that way. I just don't feel that way. I feel like he's gone out of the country to be looked at, and I have concerns about that. Pacheco or Zay Flowers for the flex spot, that is a really bad choice. The thing about it is, Pacheco's the number one in Kansas City running back. Zay Flowers, what is he, 1 or 2 with Bateman? I don't love the wide receivers for Baltimore. I don't love Kansas City's running game. However, if it's between a wide receiver and a running back and they're both kind of the same, I always go with the running back. And that's the way I look at it. Don't forget to hit that follow button. You know when I'm on. I may be on earlier than normal, 4 or 5 Central Time tomorrow because of the game. Just kind of depends when I'm back from some work I have to do. Ford worth a start? Yes. Let's just go back. Warren or Kraft? I'm assuming you mean the tight end Warren here, and not the running back with Pittsburgh. So I would go Kraft because he's a veteran versus the rookie. I know everyone likes Warren, but give him a game or two. Again, there's a steep learning curve going from college to the pros when you're a wide receiver, and it may not be as steep, but there is a learning curve that's more difficult than the running back learning curve going from college to the pro. So I would go Kraft week 1, monitor the situation. How do you think Baker Mayfield will do this season? Look, I think if Egbuka is as good as everyone's saying, and I don't know that Godwin's going to be healthy again, but McMillan has to come back because towards the end of the season, what's his name? Jalen McMillan. He had really good games. So I think Baker Mayfield, as long as he has Evans, and if Egbuka catches on, like quite literally, no pun intended, I think he's going to have another monster season for him. He's going to be, I think Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback, no questions asked.
Yeah.
Flowers or RJ Harvey for the flex? I almost say RJ Harvey in this situation, even though he's the rookie. I just don't really love Baltimore's wide receivers because they're a tight end running team heavy. Okay. And Flowers and Bateman didn't put up good numbers. And last year they had wasn't DeAndre Hopkins. They had somebody else and he didn't do anything, some veteran. So I would go RJ Harvey there. And again, I think Denver has a good offensive line. I think Harvey should put up points. Ridley or Tank Bigsby? Oh, ouch. I know neither idea.
I'm saying Ridley for that one.
I would say Ridley for that one, even though I know that Denver's coach Peyton is going to put heat on the rookie quarterback, and Surtain's probably going to be on Ridley almost all night, but I would go Ridley there. Tank Bigsby may not even see many carries because ETN is still the number one. Ford or Aaron Jones? The experts are going to say Aaron Jones. Let's just see.
I'd still say Aaron Jones.
Yeah. But then there's all these messages that say Aaron Jones will lose his job to Jordan Mason. And Ford
but it's almost like a 1A, 1B.
Yeah, they're saying Aaron Jones clearly against Chicago. Yeah, I mean, I would go Aaron Jones. I don't know why Jerome Ford gets absolutely no love against the Cincinnati defense. I don't understand
he's gonna have
that.
a nice game, but not like a monster game.
Well, I don't think he's going to have a monster game, but they're treating him like, he shouldn't be in the NFL. I mean, they really, these so-called experts don't love him. Okay, Goddard or Loveland? I would go Dallas Goddard because he's the veteran. I think Loveland's going to be good, but from what he is the number one, but I've heard that Cole Kmet, it's not like Cole Kmet is like the typical number 2. So I would go Goddard. Plus, Loveland's a rookie. There is a learning curve for tight ends, not as high as for wide receivers, but there is one. So that's why I would go Goddard, at least for week 1. Pick 2, Judy, Olave, or Buka. I would definitely pick Judy. I don't know that Olave, I mean, that team doesn't have a quarterback. Was it Spencer Rattler?
Yeah.
I mean, I would almost go with Egbuka here. I don't know that Olave is going to be the answer. Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shaw. Yeah, Spencer Rattler is not ideal. I would go, look, if
They're
you want
playing the Cardinals too.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, Cardinals don't have the best secondary.
No, but I think they weren't bad last year. They were pretty middle. So, I mean, if you want to go conservative, you go Judy and Olave because Egbuka could lay an egg. I mean, he could get 0 or 1 points. You know, he could run a wrong route. He could drop all the passes thrown to him. I've seen it before. But I would tend to go Judy Egbuka on that one. Would you trade Saquon and Kelsey for A.J. Brown, McBride, and David Montgomery? David Montgomery is the clear number 2. We have to see what that actually means. A.J. Brown. Yeah, Kelsey isn't worth very much. McBride would be an upgrade over Kelsey. Now, Montgomery, do you need I guess you're trading. Basically, what you're doing is you're trading a running back and a tight end for a better tight end and a worse running back, and you get A.J. Brown. So if you need to improve on wide receivers, I think it's a good deal because you're getting 3. But the thing with David Montgomery is if Gibbs stays healthy, I don't think they're going to split as equally the carries as they did last year. Okay, here's one for you, Terry's. Tracy or Shakir? What do you think? Are you there? Just when I asked him a question. Okay, let me just see what the experts. Tracy or Shakir? Khalil Shakir is the number 1 in Buffalo. They're saying Tyrone Tracy. Yeah, Khalil plays Baltimore. Baltimore's, I think, solidified their defense over last year. You're back. I think. Okay, so what do you think? Tyrone Tracy or Khalil Shakir?
I go Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, that's what the experts say. I would agree with them. It's interesting to me that Buffalo doesn't have like a really strong wide receiver. Njoku or Mark Andrews this week? I'd go Njoku. He was better than Andrews last year, and there's no reason to think he won't be. Flacco, he's going to be Flacco's safety valve. So, yeah, I would go Njoku. Sampson or Ford? Oh, this is interesting. So, a rookie.
I think Ford.
I think Ford is going to play more. Yeah, the experts picked Ford here over Sampson, so I would agree with them. I think Ford will have a solid game against Cincinnati's defense, and I think he's the running. Well, I know he's the running back 1, so he's going to get plenty of carries. Okay, here's a good one: Pickens or Ridley. See, I think Ridley's not going to do very well. I think Pickens could do very well because they'll target CD most of the time. Philadelphia will. So I would go Pickens there. I think Ridley's going to have 2 issues.
And Ridley,
yeah, go ahead.
Is going to get guarded by Surtain.
Yeah, Ridley's going to be guarded by Surtain probably the whole game or most of it. And Sean Payton, the head coach of Denver, is going to bring the heat on the rookie quarterback every play. I see interceptions possible, fumble, sacks, running out of bounds, all that kind of stuff. Making bad throws. Rushing, like rushing the pass, not rushing the passer, but rushing. Okay, flex, Olave or Tracy? I would go Tracy. Pickens got higher chance of getting the rock his way than Ridley. Yeah, I agree. I think Pickens, because Dallas has Pickens and CD, I think it opens up things for Pickens because everyone assumes or knows that CD's probably one of the best wide receivers in the league. So Pickens is the clear number 2, and he's going to be treated that way. Pick 2, Ford, Chubb, Harvey. Ooh.
Ford and Chubb.
Well, Chubb is going to get the start for Houston. Chubb's the starter for Houston. So I would tend to say Chubb because if you look at Mixon at the beginning of last year, he put up good numbers. It really comes down to my mind, Ford or Harvey.
I'd go Ford because of the matchup.
See, the experts are picking Harvey 82 to 18 because, Harvey is playing Tennessee. But I would tend to I tend to agree with you, Terrace. I would go Jerome Ford because I think he's going to get the majority of the carries, where RJ Harvey's going to split, or what I'm understanding, going to split more time with J.K. Dobbins. All right, pick 3 says Colty. Puka, Higgins, Ibuka, K9, Pearsall. Well, I would go Higgins, Puka. And then I would
Higgins, Puka.
I would probably go Pearsall only because he is the number 1 in San Francisco, but that offense is a mess. But K9, I think, well, you could say K9. Here's the thing. I'm because there's so many veterans in this group of 5, I'm putting Egbuka on the side. I'm saying give him a week or 2. Let's see how he's producing. Okay, because he is the great unknown. Yes, he's going to have a good season. But as I've said before, look at the first 4 weeks of BTJ last year and Ladd compared to the last 4 weeks. They did a lot better once they understood and played a lot more in the NFL. That's why I'm saying put Ibuka aside. So it's really, in my mind, between K9 and Pearsall. Let me see what the experts say.
So, Sideline, I'm going to go to bed.
All right. Thanks, man.
9 right now.
All right.
Bye.
Have a good night. Take care.
Get the 100 viewers
all right.
Again once I leave.
All right. Okay, now. Walker. Okay. They're saying Kenneth Walker. Oh, they're going against each other. Okay. Yeah. Because he's a running back. If you have 2 players, or if I have 2 players and one's a running back, one's a wide receiver, and they're kind of in the same range of each other, I'd go running back most of the time. I default to that. And I would say probably, I'm hearing all these things that Charbonnet might take Kenneth Walker's spot, but Kenneth Walker is the number 1, and you got to figure at least for the first half, maybe 3 quarters, Kenneth Walker is going to be the main guy, so he should put up decent numbers. Hawkinson or Engram, I would maybe go Engram here. Because Hawkinson did not come back from his injury very well, and Ingram's playing now in Denver and should play well. My team is Kyler, Chase, Devontae, Taylor, Montgomery, and McBride. I think it's good, except Montgomery is the number 2, and we're going to have to see what that means. Does he actually split time with Gibbs like he did beginning of last year, or is he more in the number 2 role now, with Gibbs as the clear number 1? But otherwise, you have a good team. Kyler Murray put up as good or better numbers than Jalen Hurts. If you look at, he passed for more touchdowns and more yards, and he was only behind Hurts in rushing by like 60 yards. So not too far. Should I start Judy or Pearsall? I would definitely start Judy. I think Judy and Njoku are going to get a lot of the passes from Flacco. Ford or Breece Hall. Experts are going to say Breece Hall. I would agree with them, although I wouldn't underestimate Ford. I think he's the clear number 1 in Cleveland as of right now. So I think he'll have a solid game still in all. Tracy, Pearsall, or Jacoby at flex. Tracy, Pearsall, or Jacoby at flex. See, I see all those players kind of on the same level. I really don't like the offense with San Francisco. Tracy, Jacoby. Okay, the experts actually pick, they pick Pearsall at 63%, Jacoby at 24, and Tyrone Tracy at 13. Let me take Pearsall out and see what they say. They have Jacoby Myers 70 to 30. The experts are picking Pearsall. I could see where you would go with Tracy because he's a running back, and you figure, Russell Wilson can at least hand the ball off, even if he doesn't have, even though maybe he's not as quick on his feet as he once was. But yeah, I guess go with Pearsall. I don't think Jacoby Myers is going to have a bad game. I actually think any of them should be in the range of each other. Like, there shouldn't be one that's going to get 15 and the other 2 are going to get 2. I think they'll all be somewhere between 8 and 14 points. So, but yeah, I guess go with Pearsall because he's the number 1. A lot of experts like Pearsall, But my question is, I don't think Brock Purdy's the same quarterback that he was 3 years ago. That's number one. Number two, CMC's got to come back and be CMC. Otherwise, the problem I have with it is they're not going to be as balanced offensively because nobody will fear CMC. And then you have on the bench Brian Robinson Jr., who, wasn't dynamic in any stretch towards the end of last season for Washington. Would you drop Mixon for Ollie Gordon? I have Bijan, Kyren, and Scadaboo. I know Mixon's out, and you might be chomping at the bit to get Ollie. You have Bijan, Kyren. Bijan is an A+-ish. Kyren maybe an A-, B+, maybe a B, depending upon who you talk to. Scadaboo is a rookie. He's got to show me. Let's just see. Ollie Gordon isn't even going to play. Let's just see what they say. Achane. Yeah, I mean, Ollie Gordon is number 2 on the depth charts. Is Achane injured? Because I've gotten a whole bunch about Ollie today. Oh, he's limited Wednesday. As expected, Achane was limited to practice on Wednesday and was unable to participate fully. It's a promising sign that he was on the field, however, and the team seems to be expecting him to suit up in week 1. And the team, he may be limited in the first game of the season, but fantasy managers shouldn't hesitate. Okay, so here's the thing. Achane is either going to play this week, which means Ollie's not going to get the starting role and all the touches. Or even if he doesn't play this week, it's 1 week, and then he's going to be the number 2. Again, Ollie is. And he's not going to get as many touches. And that's why I would keep Mixon for right now. You don't have to get somebody to fill in right now. You probably what you want is you're like, I'm going to get this young guy. He's going to get really good. Well, Achane has to go down. I mean, he's got to go down for to get the starts, because Achane, if he doesn't play this week, he's going to play next week because he's been in practice. So, and it doesn't look like it's a nasty injury. Love Woody Marks. Will he get lots of carries this week? Well, let's look at the matchup. And I don't always know matchups. I'm just not that. But isn't not Chubbs. I'm putting Chuba and Nick Chubb. Chubb is the starter, right? Like he's the RB1, as everybody says. Okay, hold on. Woody Marks is 4th on the depth chart, so I don't think he's going to even see action. So, he might have been one of those guys that in the preseason played a lot and you liked him, but he's 4th string. I mean, right here, 4th. So I don't see a lot going on there. I always get worried when people ask me about players that I'm not exactly familiar with. I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah, he's 4th string right now. I'm not saying that he can't move up. Okay. I don't think this week. And because he's 4th string, unless there's a rash of injuries, he just isn't going to play, because you got to remember Mixon's going to come back too. And where does that put him? If Mixon, if all these guys stay healthy, is he on the practice squad? Does he move up? Does he move down? Do they get rid of somebody else to keep him? I don't know. Start Worthy or Kamara. To me, that's a very close. That's a very close question, meaning I think either one of those guys could put up big numbers. Now, they're saying Alvin Kamara, the experts are. When I have players that are similar or within range of each other, I do err on the side of picking a running back because it's easier for them to get the ball and score points. Xavier Worthy has shown last season that he's not always there mentally. Like he'll not get two toes in like every other wide receiver who's any good does, or he'll catch a ball with 1 foot out of bounds, or he'll catch a ball, walk 2 feet and go out of bounds because he didn't really know where he was on the field. That seems to be one of his issues. And until he proves me wrong on that, I'm going to feel that way about him, because he did it a couple times, multiple times in games. And I live in St. Louis, and we get a lot of the Kansas City games because they're like our state's team kind of thing, which I'm kind of getting sick of watching Kansas City games. I have the NFL package, but we just, we just get a lot of their games. Like if you go to somebody's house or a bar or whatever it might be, and you see Kansas City, they promote Kansas City a lot here. They talk about them on the news, local news. So, yeah, I would probably go Alvin Kamara. All right. Dom, what's Dom's question? Would you trade JSN for CD? Yes. Beyond, no doubt about it. JSN still has some question marks. It's not like JSN is CD or Justin Jefferson. Plus, CD is going to be helped because of Pickens, and Pickens is going to be really helped because of CD, because he goes from being the number 1 to being the number 2. And Philadelphia has one really good cover corner, but they don't have 2, which means that 2 guy will probably be on Pickens a lot this week. Hampton or Breece Hall start? I would say Breece Hall only because Hampton's a rookie. Let's just give him a week or 2. There is a learning curve for running backs. It's not as high as wide receivers or tight end, but there is one for running backs. Hall or Hampton start? Did I answer that one? Hall. Play T. Hill or JSN? I am so blanking on T. Hill right now. Tyreek Hill. There we go. Boy, people are down on Tyreek because Waddle's getting so much love. They're like, oh, don't pick up Tyreek. Pick up Waddle. Blah, 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 blah. So we got Hill. Who was it? Hill or Jackson? Jackson. Experts say JSN. I guess a lot of people are down on Tyreek. But there's question marks behind both of them if you think about it. Don't forget to hit that subscription. Question, bro. Henderson. Is this guy still here? Wow, that's a while ago. Oh, X Spectre. Henderson running back 1 and Hampton running back 2. I'm Cook. Huh? Henderson running back 1 and Hampton. You have 2 rookies. I'm cooked. Yeah, you aren't necessarily cooked. Henderson and or Hampton could have big games. Okay. I don't know if you're still around, though. We don't have a lot of people on YouTube. Okay, we were talking, though, about JSN or Hill. I would go JSN, but they both have question marks around them, Matt MD. Matt, the doctor. Hey, if you're a real doctor, that's kind of cool. Congratulations to you and your profession. I admire that. Right. I'd go JSN. But Tyreek could be Tyreek this year. Like he said some stupid things. He doesn't get a lot of love probably because of it. He landed flat a few times last year towards the end of the season, but I think he'll be fine. Knicks by Miles. Where's Brian? Where's Brian's question? This chat is fighting me. Knicks or Tua? Yeah, Knicks definitely. Who should I start as my running back 2? Jerome Ford, J.K. Dobbins, or Tony Pollard? CMC is my running back 1. I'd go Tony Pollard because he did okay last year as sort of like a tandem with Spears. I think Jerome Ford should have a solid game. I don't know that he has a great game. I think Tony Pollard will be much more needed in that offense and hopefully put up more points. I think J.K. Dobbins will split too much time or even have less touches than R.J. Harvey. Trade Pittman Jr. for Matthew Golfin. You mean Golden. I would do that. I think Golden's going to be – I think Golden, McMillan, Egbuka are probably like the top 3 rookie possibility wide receivers. I don't know that they're going to have – I mean, last year at this time, everybody was talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. He only had 885 yards. Brian Thomas Jr. had 1,282. Ladd McConkey had 1,000 something. So But I think Golden, Egbuka, and Tet will be. I don't know. I might be leaving someone out, but they'll be of the top 5 rookie wide receivers, or they'll be in the top 5 rookie wide receivers, maybe the top 3. I think the H's will get it. Hampton, Henderson, Trayvon. It was 3 H's: Henderson, Hampton, and Harvey. I think they'll be the top 3 running backs. Yeah. I traded Neighbors for Achane and Smith. Devontae Smith. Wow. Neighbor, you got Achane and Smith. I got JJ, Marvin. Marvin's got to play better than he did last year. Diggs and Rashid Shaheed, I guess. Neighbors for Achane and Smith. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't know that. You mean Devontae Smith? I mean, that's the name that rings a bell in my head because I'm trying to think, is there another Smith I'm forgetting? Because Smith is so common. But yeah, I mean, Devontae Smith is, a good bench player. Someone's on a bye. I don't know that Devontae Smith didn't really impress me when last year. I know that he was out a few games. I think it was because of an injury. I think Achane will do fine. Thank you, Xavier. Xavier wants this question asked. He sent me 2 Dolphins. 2 Dolphins get you to the front of the line. I don't say that enough. How many people we have on YouTube? Oh, we do have some folks over at YouTube. That's good to see. Okay, so Xavier, do you have another question, buddy? What am I missing here? I'm not seeing it. Or are you just being super nice and now I have 16 cents? It's so crazy. They take so much money from me. Johnny Kuehler or cellular. I know it's not cellular, but let's see. Zazzy, 14-man, Bo, Gibbs, Jones, Drake, JSN, Loveland, Zay, Bass, Broncos. I think a 14-man league, that's pretty good. Now, obviously, people have better quarterbacks than you, but having Gibbs, Jones is a nice, B plus, although they say that he might lose his job to Jordan Mason. Drake has to have a better season than he did last year. JSN has to prove himself. Loveland is the number 1 in Chicago, but I heard he's going to split time with Cole Kmet, but it's a 14-team league. That's tough. Zay doesn't put up big numbers. I don't love the wide receivers, but I think Bo, Gibbs, Jones, JSN, I think that's solid. I think you should make the playoffs. I don't know that I think you need one more superstar like Gibbs to go for the championship in a 14-team league. I think you need Gibbs and like a JJ, maybe trade Drake and Zay for JJ or something. I don't know if anybody would actually take that, but that's what I would say there. Texans or Eagles defense. You can't go wrong with either one, really. I mean, Texans. I think I have to put Houston in here. Houston Texans and Philadelphia Freed. Ooh, don't want me to sing, I know. Well, for the week, Philadelphia, but I don't know, maybe Philadelphia by like a half a point, but either one's good. I mean, Jacob, if you're saying for this week, I would go definitely with Philadelphia because they're playing Dallas. Okay, and I think Dallas is going to be very pass heavy. Number 1, because they don't have a running back, and number 2, because they're going to be down a lot. I have Monty, Aaron Jones, Achane, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon. Oh my geez. My right receivers, I have JJ, Diggs, Marvin, Rashid. Okay, Monty is the number 2. Aaron Jones could lose his job. Achane should do pretty well. Nick Chubb will do well until Joe Mixon comes back, but you have Joe Mixon, so one will equal out the other when they make that move. You don't have any. Achane is probably, well, if Mixon would have kept up what he did the first half last year, he would have been a top tier kind of running back. But Achane is probably the closest you have to a top tier running back, or in that level, sort of beneath Saquon and Bijan and stuff like that. JJ's awesome. Diggs, you got to hope that he comes back well. Marvin has to have a much better season than last year, where he had 885 yards, which I think he played 16 games, which is like 40 yards a game. He's got to get 60 at least. 59 yards over a 17-game season if you play all 17. Hey, Jose, thanks for being part of this. Okay. Is only 59 yards for receiving. To get 59 yards receiving, if you play all 17 games, you only need 59 yards per game. All right. My man, Jose, my man, trade away JSN and McBride for BTJ and Laporta. Okay, I think McBride's a better tight end than Laporta. McBride might not get a lot of touchdowns, but he gets a lot of yards. And I think JSN could be better than BTJ. So I actually think JSN and McBride are the better tandem than BTJ and Laporta. And the reason for that is, yes, BTJ is very talented. He had a very good year, but he's got to show that. JSN, to a certain extent, has to show that. But we know that because he played with Minnesota and JJ and all that, we know that Darnold probably will be passing to, JSN. He's very comfortable, with a strong wide receiver. So, and I think McBride is going to be, I think McBride could have a much better season than Laporta, because I heard that Jamo, whatever, it's Jamo, I think they say. I think Jamo's going to be more targeted than, like, he's going to take away targets from Laporta. So I would actually keep JSN and McBride. Jose. Start Dak or Goff? Jose says, I need a wide receiver badly. Yeah, but JSN could be as good or better than BTJ this year. What you might want to do is take an asset like a third running back or something and just trade for another wide receiver. Maybe trade for Egbuka. Maybe trade for Tet. Maybe trade for, who are the other names that I'm saying? Golden. Take one of your wide receivers and see if you can go running back for a young wide receiver who you want to gamble on. That's the way I would do that. Start Henderson or Pearsall. Experts would say Pearsall. I would say Pearsall, although I think Henderson could have a very good year. I just want to give him a week to make sure that he can put up some points. Is trading A.J. Brown and R.J. Harvey and Joe Mixon for Kamara and Jacoby Myers worth it? No. A.J. Brown is way better than Jacoby Myers. R.J. Harvey and Mixon. I mean, R.J. Harvey could be as good as Kamara. Kamara didn't get 1,000 yards rushing. He had 900 and he had 500 yards receiving. So he catches the ball a good amount, but RJ Harvey should put up those kinds, something in that ballpark, at least, maybe not so much in receiving, but definitely in rushing, maybe not 1,400, but if he gets 1,200, that'll be good. And AJ Brown is a much better wide receiver than Jacoby Myers. Let's see, we're at 2 hours now. I'm kind of winding. Okay, Jose again, my man. I have JSN, DK, Waddle, Pearsall, and Adunze. Okay, DK and JSN are good. They both have question marks. DK is the clear number one, but he doesn't really have anyone to offset him like JSN did sort of in Seattle. And JSN, ironically, who's the clear number one, but they have Cooper Kupp, at least in Seattle. Yeah, you might even want to think of something like, maybe, because Waddle's getting a lot of play right now, Jose. Like, he's getting a lot of love. You might want to maybe package up like Waddle and Pearsall, Waddle and Adunze for an Amon-Ra. Maybe somebody that just has Amon-Ra and a lot of also-rans. You could do something like that. Or think that way. Maybe you don't get Amon-Ra. Maybe you go for Nico Collins. Maybe you go for Malik Neighbors. Maybe you go for, maybe you go Pearsall and Adunze for like Devontae Adams. Bench one: AJ Brown, Amon-Ra, Egbuka, or T-Mac. I would go Egbuka because he's the number two. I think Tet being the number one, I would definitely play A.J. Brown. I would definitely play Amon-Ra. And then it's really between Egbuka and T-Mac. And I would bench Egbuka. Okay, here we go. Trade A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, and Josh Jacobs for Saquon, Egbuka, and T. A.J. Brown, Devontae, and Jacobs for Saquon. You're trading 2 wide receivers and a running back for 2 wide receivers and a running back. The thing about it is you're not getting back a wide receiver that's a proven commodity like A.J. Brown and Davante Adams. If you think about it, Davante Adams could really elevate himself. He could have a really monster year with the Rams and, outperform T. And Egbuka being a rookie, it's a question of how soon until he gets his legs about him. Is it going to be 1 week, 2 weeks, 4 weeks? And my example here is if you look at BTJ and Ladd the first 4 weeks of last year, and you look at them the last 4 weeks, they did a lot better the last 4 weeks. The first 4 weeks was rough. Okay, so there is some sort of learning curve. So, I don't know. I mean, Jacobs was very solid last year. He was very consistent. Not that Saquon wasn't, but Saquon might be in A+. Jacobs, I would put him at an A minus at the worst. I mean, there's not much of a range. I don't know how this makes your overall team that much better. You're getting a little bit better running back. You're losing, though, a little bit more proven entity in A.J. Brown, unless you think T, even as a number 2 wide receiver, can put up numbers like A.J. Brown did, because their offense, obviously in Cincinnati, is so prolific, where they're just going to be, Burrow's arm's going to hurt at the end of the year. He's thrown so much. So a 2-1 for a 2-1, I don't know how it makes you better. What you could do, I guess, in some ways is just go A.J. Brown and Devontae for Egbuka and T. Or you could go Jacobs and Devontae for Saquon. I see that as an upgrade, but I don't see this as necessarily an upgrade because they're all kind of, you lose this, but you gain this. So it equals you out a little bit. Okay. Ford or Olave at flex, I would put Ford. I don't think Olave has a quarterback. I don't think Rattler, who I had up earlier on the board here, I just don't think that he's good enough. I need help picking a quarterback to start out of Darnold, McCarthy, or Caleb Williams. They all have question marks because J.J. McCarthy is essentially a rookie. Darnold is obviously a veteran, but he's with a new team. He obviously has a new receiving core. And Caleb Williams has a better offensive line, but maybe wasn't as strong as we saw all year last year. Well, let me see what the experts pick. I haven't gone to the experts in a while, so let me lean on them a little bit for this. I want to say that it's Darnold, only because he did have a good year last year, and he has Cooper Kupp, he has a running back, at least in Walker and Charbonnet, and he also has JSN. And who's the other person? What am I looking at here? Oh, Caleb Williams, McCarthy. Okay, so they are saying Caleb Williams, 84, J.J. McCarthy, 13, and Sam Darnold, 3. The experts are picking Caleb Williams. I would tend to go with Sam Darnold, but maybe Sam Darnold is more of a riskier pick for some reason. Let's just see. Darnold plays San Francisco. I don't know that San Francisco is that great defensively. I would go with Sam Darnold, but the experts all say Caleb Williams, and that's probably because they've improved their offensive line. Woo, we got a lot here. Guys, I hate to say this, but I got to go. I've been on over 2 hours, and I'm sort of zapped out right now. So I will be on at least for a short time tomorrow, hopefully right around 5:30 Central, so 6:30 Eastern before tomorrow night's game. And then I'll probably say you'll all want to watch the game, so I'm going to be off before the game, but I'll be on around that time tomorrow. So thank you all for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.